was as I'm bringing it up to heat, I'm trying to loosen that malt extract up and get it liquidized, because if it sits on the bottom as I'm getting it up to heat, it's going to scorch to the bottom and give it a real a burnt flavor. So we want to minimize that as much as possible.
And nobody likes no burnt beer.
Yeah, nobody likes the burnt beer. Well, you know, some of the porters, but we're not making a porter, are we? No, we're making Oktoberfest, y'all. I'm sterilizing my bottles. I have basically chlorine water as a sterilant, and I'm rinsing the bottles out from the inside. Keith just asked me, what's the best way to get beer bottle labels off the old beer bottles if you're using recycled bottles? And everything's different. As a matter of fact, these Rar & Sons bottles were an absolute disgrace to try to get those labels off. I tried soaking it, and I tried using a razor blade. What I found out works the best. They have a different type of adhesive than most generic beer bottle labels. The best thing for these is to scrape the label off with a razor, being very careful.
Dry or wet?
Dry. You want to do it dry. And then once that step is done, you're going to want to use mineral spirits to get the adhesive off of the rest of the bottle. It always leaves a residue, so and it can be quite sticky. You don't want to leave that on there, because it's no fun. It's really no fun. But I found that using a little bit of mineral spirits gets that off with a quickness.
Okay. What about other?
The generic labels, the best way to get it off the generic labels is to soak them. You know, you'll find out if you just leave beers in a cooler long enough in the ice water, the labels will just come right off. But there will be a residual bit of adhesive on the bottle, and I found the best way to handle that is just to use, while they're still very wet, use a razor blade and scrape that stuff off. It comes off pretty easy if you use a blade to get that last bit of adhesive off.
How do you feel about folks using goof off on the outside of their beer bottles?
I don't know what goof off is. I've never used it. I don't really have an answer for that. It's time for the tettnanger. We're going to add our first hop addition here, and we're going to boil this for about 50 minutes. And then we're going to add another hop addition. But while I do that, I'm also going to add, if I have it, I know where it's at. Aha! I'm going to add my pumpkin spice at this time.
How much are we putting in there?
I'm going to put 2/3 of a tablespoon in to start. Two-thirds of a tablespoon is 2 teaspoons. Oops. And then we'll go from there.
Beautiful. Wow.
Whoa. You know who you are. I want to give a shout out to Craig Tube, who, after watching his videos, I became more confident in my ability to brew. And I just want to say, hey, thanks to Craig at Craig Tube for
thanks, Craig,
for teaching me how to, you know,
be more bold in your beer.
Yep. And, you know, and also to Chuck Papazian, who his book has been very instrumental in the quality of the brews. The wheat beer, Belgian wheat. Well, it's not Belgian, it's American.
Sweet, malty, definitely taste and feel the ABV. It's not very carbonated, but it's not undercarbonated, contrary to You said it was going to be overcarbonated, didn't you?
No, I said it was undercarbonated.
No, I don't get the sensation of undercarbonation. It's not totally flat. There wasn't a head on it, but, you know, who wants to drink through foam? Some of you guys do.
Some guys
I
do.
don't. I just want good flavor.
All right.
For people with beards and mustaches to follow this one.
This is true.
And yes, my lovely wife's face is going to end up on my YouTube channel. Yay! First time I did this Belgian style wheat, based off of a sealess recipe, but what I did with it was the only thing I didn't like about it was that it had a kind of a cidery taste to it. And the reason why I got that cidery taste is because when I brewed it, I added like almost 2 pounds of dextrose to boost the alcohol in it a little bit. And what that did was that just that raw sugar kind of gave it a cidery flavor. And so it wasn't, it didn't give it quite the maturity that I was looking for. So it's sweet, and it's got a round palate, but it also has kind of almost like I'm drinking a cider type of beer. So I wasn't happy with it. I brewed it again, and instead of using the dextrose, I used 2 pounds of dry malt extract, a light dry malt extract. So I'm hoping that that gives that a more fuller flavor. And we're going to bottle that today. So we're going to find out here in a couple weeks if the results turned out the way I'd like them. Second hop addition. This has been going for 50 minutes now. I'm going to give it an additional 10 minutes. I've got a little bit of cascade. A little less than ½ ounce of cascade hops, and also another ½ ounce of herzbrucker hops.
Bless you.
And we're going to round that off, and the last thing I'm going to do is give that last little bit of the pumpkin spice to it, and we're going to bring it up to a full tablespoon.
So you had 2/3 before?
Yeah, I added 2/3 of a tablespoon before, and this is going to be the last bit. Where did my measuring spoons go? That's pleasant. Measuring spoon.
Measuring spoon.
Thank you. Level that off.
So 1 2/3 tablespoon pumpkin spice overall.
No, it's a tablespoon total. 2/3. Yeah, 1 teaspoon is 1/3 tablespoon.
Right.
So I gave it 2 teaspoons, which is 2/3 tablespoon, and then on this last bit, I've got 1 last 1/3 tablespoon, bringing it to a full tablespoon. No solicitors, please. No solicitors. No, thank you.
Aww.
Oktoberfest is a lagering ale, but I live here in Texas and I don't have any kegs, so I can't keep the beer at a steady 40 degrees. Oh, what's the matter, buddy? Nobody's paying attention to you. There's nobody paying attention to you. You
Smiley, you're on a handy camera. Hi.
Sweet boy.